Alex, who is part of today's protest in front of John Cabot Secondary School. Alex, I understand that you are a former Muslim, is that correct?
Unfortunately, yes, I am, yes. I'm a former Muslim, and I can tell you I lived in the countries. I've lived in Iran, I've lived in Iraq, I've lived in Afghanistan, Yemen, Oman, Saudi. And the fact of the matter is, in countries particularly like Iran and Iraq, on a daily basis, actually, this is part of the morning ritual. Before you get up, it says, death to America, death to this president, death to Russia, death to this. So they're actually, in their mosques in Middle East, they're more open-minded. It's not like here. They actually talk about, you know, how infidels should be dead and how non-Muslims should be dead, kill them. They actually say these things. Here in Canada, they're afraid to express themselves because they lack numbers. And once they have enough numbers, they're going to practice Islam the traditional way, the way it's done in the Middle East, where they actually, in the mosque, practice death of non-believers, which is exactly what happens. And the fact of the matter is, the least you could do, I'm an immigrant myself, when you come to a country, we're guests, you're integrated. If you don't like it, go back to where you come from. Obviously, you come from a nation where you're not happy with your way of life. It's backward, it's 7th century, it's underdeveloped. You come here for better, I was going to say to you, the least you could do is basically try to integrate. And I believe wrong multiculturalism, bringing the wrong immigrants in, all it does is it causes more of a divide. It doesn't bring people together. And out of all religion, not one talks about cut the throats of non-believers, but this particular religion specifically. I challenge anyone from Taoism to Zoroastrian to even, I mean, there's a lot of violence in the gospel too. But the bottom line is, does not say cut the throat of those who don't believe. This religion in particular preaches that on 3 occasions that I just read. And as I said it to you, and other, I'm going to go over a few other things because there's something called Sahih al-Muslim and Sahih al-Bukhari. Matter of fact, he compares the woman to a sheep, and they should say be written like here it is. A woman may be likened to a sheep, cow, or a camel, for all are written. This is in Tasfir al-Kutabi, page 172, volume 15. You can download that. And the other one right here is, this is again from Bukhari 1183. It says that when Muhammad was sitting down, he wrapped himself in his garment. Then he said, where is the little one? Call the little one to me. That's Hassan. So basically what Muhammad did in this case is came running and jumped on his lap. Then Muhammad opened the boy's mouth and put his tongue in. That to me is homosexuality.
And pedophilia, yes.
Absolutely. Putting his, I was going to say to his tongue in the mouth of his grandson, Hassan. And I was going to say to you, in a nation that despises homosexuals, it's very interesting that the Prophet was not only a pedophile, but bisexual himself. In my book, when you stick your tongue in a 7-year-old boy's mouth, that's exactly what you are. So he was bisexual as well.
And how long have you been in Canada?
I've been here 17, 18 years.
And you would say that Canada is your home above anything else?
Absolutely, I would die for this country. This is my country. I would fight for this country, not for anything else. The least you could do is when you come here, if you can't pick up its identity, don't even be in this country, you know. That's the thing, like I said, I mean, I'm grateful for immigrants who come to this country and integrate and classify this as their country. I was going to say they look at it as this is their number one. And for those who can't, they really should go back to the countries where they come from, you know, plain and simple.
Now, what do you think the Canadian solution is for this Islam problem that we currently have?
What the Japanese did, no more mosques allowed in Japan. That's why you don't hear of any terrorist attacks in Japan, China, or even Hungary. Hungary actually, I was going to say to Poland, I was going to say to one of the members of, you could actually YouTube this, political party said that, you know, we don't want to allow human garbage. On 2 occasions he said that in this country. Technically, wherever there's no mosques and Muslim, there's no terrorism, bombing, or any violent prospects. Wherever they exist, and I say this, I don't see Jews, I don't see Christians, I don't see Zoroastrians, I don't see Taos, I don't see people who, even pagans or atheists, cutting heads off. The only religion to this day is practicing that 7th century barbaric methods of execution is Islam. And the reason is, in the Holy Book, it does say that. It does say cut the head. So ISIS is not being fascists or fanatics. ISIS is practicing the Quran exactly the way it says. They are the true Muslims.
What should Canadians do right now?
Ban mosques, do what Japanese do, and watch Islamic immigration, you know, interview them. And what I say, if you really want to get rid of terrorism, what's happening in England and France and Germany is don't allow them in the country in the first place. I'm sorry to say. Every other ethnicity, a religion is welcome but that.
And what made you leave Islam?
I woke up, I was taught enough hate, kill this, kill that. I read the Bukhari and Sahih al-Bukhari, and I read, I was going to say to you, Sahih Muslim, and those things were the main factors that actually, you know, those are actually 6 of the hadiths, which is technically his life story, 2 of the most 6 respected hadiths, and actually in Saudi no one can deny that. Most people, Muslims, haven't even read Sahih al-Bukhari or Sahih al-Muslim. And as I said, in there it compares to woman, it says she should be written like a camel, sheep, or a cow. For all, they're all written. Those who don't believe cut their limbs off on opposite sides. And I was going to say, even if a woman gets raped, she has to have more than 4 male witnesses. Matter of fact, in countries like Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Oman, they make the victims marry the rapists. so the woman doesn't face stoning consequences. And this is true. I live there. No, you know, anyone who doubts me, Saudi Arabia, if you were to talk about Christianity, Judaism, or anything, which is Wahhabi nation, which is they practice Islam by its traditional roots, you would get killed. It's amazing. In their countries, Christians and Jews are not allowed to hold rallies the way they do in Western countries and European countries, but they expect Europeans to welcome and let them do what they don't allow Europeans to do in their countries, and that's unfair. That's very, very unfair. And that's how it is. And the bottom line is, as I said, I don't see Hindus in here in Canada trying to hold rallies, try to Hindufy the country, or Zoroastrians, or Christians, or Jews, or any Christians of any sect, either whether Lutheran, whether I was going to say to Presbyterian, any sect, Scientology, Church of, I was going to say the Mormon, whatever it may be. I don't see anyone trying to influence their religion by, these people are holding rallies, and their aim is to basically convert the country into an Islamic nation. No.
So my last question then for you would be, what would you tell young Muslims who are in Canada now how to get away from this?
Well, for some of them, it's too late. They've been brainwashed. It's, you know, look at me. I mean, I changed myself when I was in my mid-30s. Some are the lucky ones, and some they'll be stupid to the day they die, you know, and it's very unfortunate. But, you know, Islamic brainwashing is more dangerous than, as I said it to you, it's more dangerous than an African mamba snake, you know. So the fact of the matter is, you know, for some of them, unfortunately, there's nothing to do. You know,
and is Islam compatible with the West?
Absolutely not. I was taught Islam in the Middle East that we hate the West. We despise the way of the West. And Islam's particular main enemy is the superpower Christian powers, which is superpower Europe and North American, the American nations. This is their enemy, and they will not rest in peace, because this is what they teach us too. Every Christian either converts or pays the jizya, the taxes, or basically destruction of Europe. They're against democracy and freedom. And that's that. You know, if Islam takes over, this is for black people, Latinos, everything. There'd be no drinking, there'd be no bars, there'd be no clubs. You know, women have to basically, the beaches are going to be filled with burqas and no bikinis or no bathing suits. On top of that, I was going to say to you, you'd be enforced to pray on Friday. You have to. In a lot of hardcore Middle Eastern countries, Yemen, Oman, Saudi, you could actually get punished for that. Not to mention women and men have to sit in segregated spots inside public places like restaurants and stuff, which happens in Saudi Arabia. If the burqa is not worn properly, if only your eyes and the hands are supposed to be shown, which is what it says in the Quran. And if that's not the case, in Saudi, Yemen, Oman, you could get beat up by religious police, fined, or imprisoned. And this is how it is. So it's exactly against the Western race. People of all nationalities, if you want your freedom, if you want to drink when you want to, if you want to go out when you want to, if you want your freedom of presentation, expression, fight against Islam. Or you're pretty much all going to be slaves to the religion like I was.
Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That was Alex. He is an apostate. He is a former Muslim, which means if he goes back to any Middle Eastern country, he will be killed as an apostate. That is correct. Unlike other religions that can throw you out, you are not allowed to leave Islam once you go in. You're called an apostate and you are to be killed. That's the punishment for it. I'm Kevin J. Johnston from freedomreport.ca.